UFC Fight Night, Derrick Lewis taking on Serghei Spivac. That's your main event. Obviously, there's some other fights on the card we'll get to in just a second. Let's talk about that main event. Heavyweight main event, 5 rounds. I do not expect it to go 5 rounds. And BC, here's kind of the interesting part. Serghei Spivac has not faced anyone, or I should say, he's not defeated anyone quite as high-ranked as Derrick Lewis. That would be new, but he's on a surge. Derrick Lewis, on the other hand, we don't know, so this is my question for you. Is he on the true decline? Because Serghei Spivac could be knocked out, but on the ground, he has good takedowns. He's got good subs. Could be a bad matchup for him. In fact, he's the favorite at minus 195 to Derrick Lewis at plus 165. Are we about to watch the unraveling of Derrick Lewis?
It feels that way. It's also felt that way before. Now, have things ever been this dire for Derrick Lewis heading into this fight? No, they really haven't, Luke. And he's also fighting a guy who, as you sort of set up, does seem to be ready to find out how good he can be. Serghei Spivac has won 5 of his last 6, and he's dominated that certain tier of the Augusto Sagais, the Alexio Lennox, the Jared Vanderas, those guys. I mean, he sent Greg Hardy to hell in less than a couple minutes. He, of course, lost when he stepped up and got stopped by Tom Aspinall in the first round, but he's letting you know where he's at levels-wise. He beats Derrick Lewis. He gets the opportunity to go to that next level. And look, shout out to Moldova, which is representative here in the main event and the co-main event. So double shot of Moldov mania here. But it's like, is Serghei Spivac a guy who's not yet 30, can do some things? Is he a guy that he's screaming that he's ready to get to that next level? I'm not sure yet. I'm not fully come around on this guy, even though, again, he's beating the guys that you're supposed to if you're ready to this point. But it does all come down to Derrick Lewis, because those losses, and he's now 3 of his last 4, they've been awful in some ways, okay? Like, when he stepped up against Gane for the interim title, I mean, he didn't show up that night. I mean, there was the hometown thing, of course, the pressure on him, but he absolutely did not show up and then got stopped by a guy who we weren't looking at as a finisher, striking-wise in that fight. And, the Tai Tuivasa one, and, Tuivasa is better than we knew at the time, yes. But Lewis imploded and got knocked around and eventually fell apart, which he tends to do when he steps up to the highest level. But Luke, it's that last fight that's got to have you more scared than the others. There's been hints that Derrick Lewis was ready to go. I always thought after the loss to Cormier for the title, we'd never see him motivated again. But he's now 37, and that last fight in question against Sergey Pavlovich in July, dude, that was 55 seconds. He just folded. Could he shock you if you put plus money on him and get a big knockout here? Of course. And that's, always going to be the calling card. But Luke, how much do we look at the Pavlovich one? Because that's not, he stepped up against Gane and he was going to lose it anyway, and he may have talked himself out of trying his best. And that's not, hey man, he got into a war with Tuivasa, shit happens. Dude, that was like 55 seconds and you're done, dude. Mm-hmm. You gotta be nervous for what this means, right?
The thing was the Tai Tuivasa loss a turning point? And again, we don't know that yet. But the commonality is Gane's not a huge puncher, but he's sort of technically overwhelming. Tuivasa, a big puncher. Pavlovich, a big puncher. Now, Spivak is not a weak puncher by any stretch of the imagination, but I wouldn't say he's a big puncher. He can land with accuracy. He can land with power. But mostly, if he wins, I would imagine he would win with some level of his grappling game mixed in. There could be ground and pound as a part of that, like a TKO finish is certainly in play, but more than that, other forms of control and whatnot. So I don't know if this is exactly the same kind of threat, which is why if he gets, bludgeoned here, that would be like, well, that's bad. You're right, man. You look at that Brad Riddell situation, right, where he had, I think, 3 losses in a row, but it was the loss to, I think, was it the Jalen Turner loss, where I just, after that, he just didn't quite look the same. He had 2 first-round losses back-to-back. Now, here we are burying Derrick Lewis. He could come out and just blow the doors off of Serghei Spivac, but he's lost 3 of his last 4. And again, the Gane one you can write off, especially because he came back out after that and knocked the bejesus out of Chris Dawkins. Fair enough.
I want to stop you there.
But it's the last 2 that were bad.
I'm not going to take the wheel. I'm just going to interject this, and you can pick up. I want to stop you. I don't feel like you can write off the Gane one when he's had 2 more in succession with them. Obviously, the one Dawkins knockout in between to show us he's still got life. But even though, again, you can make the argument that that's a horrible style matchup, he's never going to look good against Gane. I mean, look, he absolutely imploded. So there's a difference when Derrick Lewis is not injured he's a much different fighter. There's obviously a difference when he's motivated enough to get in great shape. But it's like in those fights, the second he discovered resistance, he was done. And when that happens, Luke, sometimes you can repair that if you had a bad camp or you were hurt or whatever. Dude, the fear has to be that it is gone. And I don't think you look back at that Gane one and just go, oh yeah, whatever. He was never going to win that. Dude, he straight up shit the bed in that one. And I hate to say that, Luke. It's unfair for me in my basement to say that. But would you agree that there's a spot in his Death Star where he can be imploded to nothing? And, once or twice, that's okay. But we're on a pattern run right now.
It could be true. I mean, he's had back-to-back losses before, all the way back in 2018 and 2019. But that was to Daniel Cormier and Junior Dos Santos. So here's the thing, BC. It's like, I do think for him, it's hard to shake off the losses a little bit, especially as he gets older. It's a little hard to get things going again. And at 37, that's going to be the hardest it's been, certainly in his life. Yeah, I do think you're onto something. It could be that case. On the other hand, BC, what do we say if all of this analysis ends up being totally wrong? He looks sharp, he defends takedowns, or he gets taken down but doesn't take a ton of punishment, shows life, gets up, the kind of classic kind of Derrick Lewis experience that you're used to, and then goes and just blows the doors off of Spivak. It wouldn't necessarily change what his ultimate upside is, but I do think it would have a massive change about where his current level of ability is, because one more time, Serghei Spivac has looked the best he's ever looked in this division, so he'd be beating a good fighter on his rise, right as we're kind of being like, well, is this the end?
Yeah, no, you're right. And for as long as he shows legitimate danger in life as a product, losses are never going to tell the full story on him because he's the perfect TV fighter. He can beat anybody on any given night, all that. But what you just said sets up perfectly the true stakes in this fight. If he goes in there and knocks out Spivak in a round or a round and a half, yeah, we forget about what recently happened. No, we don't look at him as a title contender necessarily, but we can go back to, again, believing C-level Kane, motivated BJ, every couple fights, Derrick Lewis. But if he loses and if he gets stopped or if he gasses, that's the thing. Like, you're only relevant with defeats if you bring a certain product to the table. Excitement, or you're a great test for the young guys on the way up. But those implosive losses that he's had, in my opinion, although obviously they're fueled by people hitting him really hard, but I think you get my point. He's just gone. The fight's over. Those suggest something different, that if he loses this one, I mean, I don't know, he doesn't get cut, but you take a fall. I mean, he's going to take a fall with a loss here, Luke. This would be bad.